Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I'm really excited to share with you some of my beauty berries. And if you've been looking around this fall and you see these clusters of purplish, pinkish type berries that just look really interesting and really amazing, it's probably the beautyberry. And this is one that I did in the springtime as a cutting from the beautyberry plant that I planted last fall. I took like a 4 to 6 inch size cutting, put some rooting hormone in it, and put it into a peat and core mix, and you can see here it is doing really well. This is the first year for this cutting and it's already got flowers. These flowers will turn into those clusters of pink berries eventually, and I might actually have enough time for this one to start producing real berries because of these flowers. So I'm really excited by that. You can tell it definitely needs some transplanting or planting outdoors at this stage. I'm probably going to just upsize the pot for now because the spot where I want to start putting these is not ready yet. The other beauty berries that I've got here are a combination of things. Like these here I took as cuttings about a month ago, and we're going to take a look at those as far as the roots go. And then these containers are beauty berries that I did as seeds. And I collected the seed last fall. I let them cold stratify outdoors in a planter. I didn't do a whole lot that was very special with it. I did clean the seed so that it didn't have any pulp around. And you can check back the video where I did that process. It's really fairly simple. It takes a little bit of time to do, but it's not hard. And I planted them just into a planter container, let them overwinter outdoors in the natural elements, and here's what we got. We've got 4 in each of these here, so I've got 12 beautyberry shrubs in these 3 little pots, and it's just a really easy plant to grow. It's native, the birds love it. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to go ahead and check out the root systems of these and transplant them. And we'll probably start with this one right here so you can see how much the roots have grown within a month. There's also some Viburnums in here that I may need to transplant at the same time since they're all in the same pot. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at these. Okay, so let's take a look at these beautyberry cuttings in here. I've got 4 beautyberry cuttings, and I have, looks like 4 Viburnums that are in this container. So I'm hoping that they've all rooted well. If I look at the bottom, I definitely see a little bit of roots that are coming out from there. That's probably from the beautyberries. I think they grow a lot faster than the Viburnums do. So just to loosen things up, I'm going to just kind of squeeze the outer edge. I had used a mixture of core and sand in here, and I'm going to just gently topple it over like this. And we'll go through and we'll separate them out just very easily. And here's one beautyberry. You see a good clump of roots on it. Here's another one which is doing really well. This was a bigger size cutting, and it's got a ton of roots on that one. And then this one here is doing really well. And where's our 4th here? There he is. All right, let's gently pull it out, and we've got some really good roots on it too. So all 4 of them rooted really good. No problems whatsoever. They're all looking nice and happy. Now I'll shoot over here to the Arrowwood Viburnums that I've got, and you can see here some pretty good roots on it. This one's got some really good roots coming too. And right there, that little one's got some good roots. And this one is a little bigger. It started to produce some new growth on it, and it's got some barely little roots right there. Sometimes when you get new growth on a plant, that doesn't necessarily mean you are getting roots. It will send off energy in that direction. So you can't use that as a main indicator. It can be like a secondary indicator, but it does look like this one did root a little bit, so that's a good thing. So we've got all 4 of those rooted, all 4 of these rooted. So we're doing pretty well here. So we're going to go ahead and pot these up into a mixture. I'm probably going to use about 25% core, 25% compost, and about 50% of bark shavings into each of these pots. And I'm going to plant them singly into each container so that I can grow them on through the winter and then maybe plant them outdoors in their permanent locations this spring once I have those spots ready. So potting these plants up couldn't be any easier. I'm just using reused old pots that I have from plants that we bought in the past or things that people have given me. And I'm just going to take this, and so I want the root crown to be a little bit underneath the rim of this plant, of the pot here. So now we'll just come back in and cover in. A lot of times it's just easiest to do it with your hands. Just get some good gloves on, and there you go. I'm going to press it down a little bit. And once we water, it may need a little bit of more soil coming in the top because sometimes things settle a bit. But other than that, you are ready to go. I'm not going to add any additional fertilizer into these right now. They have some compost in here for their immediate needs. And we're in almost, we're at the end of August now, so it'll be September here. And then sometime in October is usually when our frost date is. So I don't want to get them growing too much green growth. I want to get them kind of hardened off before the winter comes. So we'll go on and do that. And do these others here the same way. But I will hold that in place where I want it to be and then fill up around it. But Beautyberry are excellent plants. Birds love them. They're a native. Not all of them are native, but you're wanting the American Beautyberry if you're looking for one. We'll water these, keep them in a location where they can get some decent sunshine. They have been outdoors already, and so they have been acclimated to the weather at this point. So they shouldn't have any trouble as long as we keep them watered. So these viburnums are not as far along as far as the roots go. They are just a little slower to grow on the roots. So I'm going to go for some smaller pots so I can use up a little less soil right now. And I'll keep an eye on them. They will most likely need to be transplanted one more time before the fall, before our frost dates come. But we will get them transplanted into their individual containers so that they can go ahead and get more of their root system established here. This viburnum is also a native viburnum. They produce some really beautiful blueberries, and the birds love them. So they are a great plant to have. So with Arrowwood viburnum, I'm not too worried about covering up the crown of the root system because they are a suckering type bush. They will send out lots of different shoots. And so the crown is not as seriously important as it would be with other plants where you're trying to make sure you're not getting some root rot or things like that. They can handle a good bit of moisture and full sun locations, and they're even tolerant of a bit of shade. So they are a great plant to have around. Love the glossy leaves. All right, next up for transplanting is our beautyberry that I grew from cuttings early in the spring. So we're going to fill this pot up pretty good, and as you recall, quite a bit of roots out the bottom. We'll just give it a little squeeze in the container and gently pull it out there. See, check that out. Looking really good. We're getting at a nice time where it is not root bound. If you want to, if you see a little bit of circling happening, pull those roots out just a little bit, kind of gently spread them, and it will be just fine. So we're going to slide this in. It looks like I put too much soil in to start from. So we'll just dump a little out, put that in here, and then tuck it in and fill up and around. Really pleased with how these have turned out. I can see myself making a lot of beautyberries to put around on the property. And if you were hypothetically starting a plant nursery and you wanted to focus on native plants, this is absolutely a plant you must produce. It's easy to propagate and people love it, especially in the fall. You may not sell so many of it in the springtime, but when it's got berries on it and you're sitting there in your nursery and people walking by, they are going to ooh and awe over top of the berries that you get with this plant. So there we go. There's the American Beautyberry. This one came from the cutting. And now we're going to proceed over and take a look at the beautyberries that came from seeds so I can show you those roots. All right, so here we go. They all look really good, every planter. Let's just start with this one here. We've got 4 seedlings that were grown in here. And we'll just gently pull them out. And they've got a really nice looking root system there all the way around. After I transplanted these the first time, they were little teeny tiny little plants to start from. And then I upsized them into a larger container. And then I fertilized them with a slow release type fertilizer. And that's when they really put on growth. I think sometimes that's really necessary in order to make sure you get enough growth on your plants so that it can make it through winter. And I think these are going to be just fine, but I'm going to just gently pry them apart. It looks like I actually have 5 in here. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then these 2, let's see if they're 1 or... Actually, I think these are just 1 that split into 2 different stems. Let's see. Nope, I can pull them apart. So maybe I'm doing a division here at the same time. Get 1 extra one. Gotta be careful because we don't want to rip off too many roots. But a little bit's not going to be a big deal. As long as each one has enough roots to regenerate. See, this one came off a little fewer roots than I was hoping for, but this one's going to be fine. So we'll see. Maybe we get 5 out of that one instead of the 4 I thought. And it looks like all the rest of these are probably going to be similar. We'll just go through them quickly. Check those out. They look really good. I'm really pleased with this. And it was so easy to do. It just takes a little bit longer when you're doing it from seed as opposed to doing it from a cutting. So we'll get these potted up just like we did the other plants, and we'll have them growing on. The one cool thing about having them grow from seed is that you have ensured genetic diversity. They are not clones of the original plant, which means every one of them might have some slight genetic variations in them. Sometimes those genetic variations can make them more resilient against pests and diseases. Other times they may not. It's a little bit of natural selection going on there. So we'll see how they do, and we'll go on and get these potted up. And you see these berries here. These are Brandywine Viburnum berries. The blue ones are ripe and ready to be picked and used. And I actually grew some of those from seed, which I'm going to show you what they look like now. So this right here is one of the seedlings I've gotten from the Brandywine Viburnum seeds that I planted last fall. Now the reason I did that was because Brandywine is a protected variety, which means it's patented, and I can't legally propagate cuttings from it. So the only other method I have available to me is to do it through seed. Now that I have something that is grown from seed, like these viburnums are now, this is Viburnum nudum, and it's not a Brandywine viburnum anymore, but it's one of the offspring of that plant. I can propagate from this one because it is not the patented variety anymore. So that's why I did that, but there's a little bonus for you. If for some reason you can't propagate due to a patent and you can grow it from seed, that's one option for you, and then you can propagate from what you grew from seed, introducing a completely new variety that's probably very much like the original species. So I've gone ahead and I've grouped all my plants together so they will be very easy to take care of and water all at the same time. On this side I've got the Beautyberries that were grown from seed. Over there are the ones that I did from cuttings. I'm keeping them separated so I can kind of notate which ones do better and how they perform, because you never know, you might get something really amazing out of a seed grown one, and then the cutting is going to perform probably just like the parent plant would. So one thing to note on the ones that I did from cuttings, the bigger one over there was from a group of 4. Only one of those made it. The others were a group of 4, and all 4 of them made it. The big difference was the time of year. Those cuttings, the newer ones, were the group of 4 there. They were taken in July. The other one was taken in the springtime. So sometimes timing of your cuttings can make a difference. So if something doesn't work out and you did it in spring, then maybe try it again in the summer and see if that's a better time for it. They have different amounts of energy built up in them, and they're doing different things at different times. So sometimes a different time may work better. These other plants right here, this is a viburnum called rusty blackhaw. It's a native viburnum, but you can see it's very defoliated. Same with that one right there. That's because I had a bagworm come in and just chew down all the leaves. Not a big deal because that bagworm is no longer with us. There's one other I'm going to have to pull off and get rid of, but they will regrow their foliage, and it'll be just fine in the spring. This one's another Arrowwood viburnum. Love those Arrowwood viburnums. I have about 3 or 4 somewhere on the property. I'm going to be planting a lot of those just because they are great native plants. Behind it are some Tuscarora crepe myrtles, which are not native plants, but they are beautiful plants. I've noticed the hummingbirds really seem to enjoy them. And these were done in a couple videos ago, and they're doing great. They even bloomed this year, and they're starting to produce some seed. I generally don't grow crepe myrtles from seed, but they can self-sow a little bit. So if you see one, you may want to either pull it to weed it out or potentially pot it up and move it into another location. So that's what we've got for today. I hope this video was helpful and interesting to you. And if it was, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching.